I thought I should make a short live Facebook recording about this saying here on my t-shirt that has truly guided my life for many, many years. It reads in Afrikaans, jy moet doen wat jou hart vir jou sê. You must do what your heart tells you to do. This has been a very important guiding phrase, guiding life for me in the way I've conducted myself and the decisions that I've taken. Over the years, I've always told myself, I must be honest to my convictions. I must be honest in carrying out the beliefs that I've held on to for so many decades. It was many years ago, at the age of 19, that I joined the African National Congress in Botswana in 1979 on the firm belief that the ANC was the national liberation movement to work for the full liberation of the people of South Africa, including also economic liberation. I must be honest, after the 1994 elections and also during the CODESA negotiations that led up to those elections, I started to have to ask some very serious questions on whether that assessment of mine, that the African National Congress was truly the national liberation movement that will bring full liberation to the people of South Africa, became more and more pertinent. And of course, over the last 30 years, those questions that I've asked have been answered. And they've been answered sadly in the negative. That the African National Congress turned out to be a sellout organization. In fact, it turned out to be an organization of elitists and comprador capitalists that made an unholy alliance with imperialism and the agents of white monopoly capitalism and capitalism in general in this country, and over 30 years disappointed the hopes of the people of South Africa and destroyed the future of so many generations of South Africans. Initially, I did not want to leave the African National Congress. Initially, because I joined the ANC with so much conviction, and because I considered the African National Congress to be my only family after my Afrikaans family rejected me for having joined the liberation struggle. I told myself it must be possible to work inside the ANC in order to change it. And in all honesty, over the decades, I tried my level best to do so. I think those of you who followed my political career and the stances that I've taken will be able to testify to the truth of what I'm saying, that I did my absolute best to resist the sell-out tendencies within the ANC, to work for true economic fundamental transformation, to be true to the beliefs with which I joined our liberation struggle, to be true to the convictions which I heard being expressed by the longest serving president of the ANC, Comrade Oliver Reginald Tambo, when he said that economic liberation and liberation from racism must dovetail, because the one is directly linked. In fact, there is an umbilical cord between them: racism and economic exploitation under the conditions of colonialism, and colonialism of a special type, specifically in South Africa. Now, I said this must be a short live recording, and therefore I'm not going to go into all the details of the long and the hard battles that I had fighting for those ideals, and the many disappointments that I faced within the African National Congress, the many humiliations, the terrible treatment that I received at the hands of some of those so-called comrades. But suffice to say that in 2023, in December 2023, I finally had to come to the conclusion that the efforts that I've made since 2022 to first resign from the African National Congress and start my own political party, the party called the African Radical Economic Transformation Alliance, had to finally lead to the logical conclusion of me and the members of the African Radical Economic Transformation Alliance joining the only truly economic emancipatory revolutionary movement in South Africa, also in the effort to make sure that there's not a further fractionalization of the unity of the progressive left. And therefore, I joined with great conviction the economic freedom fighters. I did what my heart told me to do. And in my political life, in my life and relations to fellow friends and comrades, also those who came to me to ask me for advice, I've always maintained that this saying is the most important guidance and is also the most important message for the healing of a heart that is broken by broken promises, by those who do not maintain their commitment in personal life and in political life for justice and for a true and liberated future. When I was ambassador for South Africa and the Netherlands, a young man with the name of Alex Klusman came to my office and said, I've been working within the context of political parties in the Netherlands, but I'm disappointed by some of the positions that they have taken. I'm a good communications expert. I think I should go my own way and create my own communications company so that we can continue to carry out those very important messages of liberation without being compromised all the time. As I was sitting in my office talking to Alex Klusman, I said to him, my dear friend, and I said it to him in Afrikaans. He's Dutch, so he understood the Afrikaans that I spoke. Jy moet doen wat jou hart vir jou sê. And Alex followed that route. He established one of the best known political and socio-economic communications companies, not only in the Netherlands, but in the world. He continued to live his dream and his ideals. And when you talk to him today, he says, the one guiding message that I received was from Ambassador Carl Niehaus, telling me to do what my heart tells me to do. When you go to that company in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, you will find mugs that they use for the coffee in the early morning when they go into the executive meeting. And on those mugs are printed this message: Jy moet doen wat jou hart vir jou sê. Next month, Alex and a delegation of his very well-known communications company will be coming to South Africa to follow our national and provincial elections for 2024. He will also be visiting the offices of the economic freedom fighters. He will be meeting with me as a member of the economic freedom fighters. And I will remind him of that message that I conveyed to him. You must do what your heart tells you to do. That is what led me to the decision to join the economic freedom fighters, to support our Commander-in-Chief, Commander Julius Malema, whom I've known now for many decades, that he is the right person with the right political understanding and the right charismatic ability and personality. And also as a young leader to become the president of South Africa. I want to make it very clear today that my commitment towards the economic freedom fighters is deep and strong. It is based on a clear ideological appreciation of what the EFF stands for, of the 7 cardinal pillars that the economic freedom fighters has built our economic and general political approach on. The way in which that has also been translated more recently into the EFF's 2024 election manifesto. I've been confronted, I suppose that is the correct word, by many people who said, why didn't you join the MK party? And my answer has been very simple. I've joined the party, the true revolutionary party, that has a clear ideology, that is led by young and capable leaders that can make fundamental change possible in South Africa. I believe that that party, in fact, the only party that can do so, is the economic freedom fighters. I investigated, I interrogated my heart, and the answer was clear. Do what your heart tells you to do with integrity. And that was what led me to the EFF. I've said so several times during the last couple of weeks. This was indeed the best decision that I've ever taken. And in the last 44 years of my active political life and involvement in the liberation struggle in South Africa, I've never been happier than this. So let me conclude. I'm clear that I've taken the right decision. I'm also clear that I will continue to allow this personal saying, do what your heart tells you to do, to lead me in my social political life, but also in my personal life. The decisions I take will be led by the understanding that the personal is political and the political is personal. And those who want to challenge me for those decisions will have to stand up to the rigor, to the careful investigation, to the careful analysis that I've done in the process of coming to the conclusion that this is what my heart tells me to do. So, as you see me sitting here today, rest assured, I have arrived politically, and in future, also in my personal and political life, this guiding phrase, this principle that I've applied so many times, will continue to guide me. My call remains to every South African who's concerned about the future of our country, about the terrible disaster that has befallen us under the comprador sell-out destruction of the African National Congress. Vote economic freedom fighters. Vote for Julius Malema to become the President of South Africa. Make sure that 2024 will indeed be our 1994. Doen wat jou hart vir jou sê. Aluta continue.